Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to learn about modern architecture. So because of the advent of the Europeans, we say there is influence of the European architecture also on the Indian architecture. So in this lecture, we are going to see the architecture of the Portuguese, architecture of the French and also the British. So in the British architecture, we are going to see the new important two styles. The first one is Indo-Gothic style and the second one is a Neo-Roman style. And later on, we are also going to discuss about the post-independent architecture as well. So let's get started our lecture. So if you see the Europeans, they bought them with the wealth of the architectural styles, and we can see that there are the number of the constructions which are made by the Europeans. So let us see the first one, that is the Portuguese architecture. So we see there is an influence of the Portuguese mainly bought with the Iberian style. So you have to remember this Iberian style because we are also going to discuss the difference between the Indo-Gothic style and also the Iberian style at the last of the lecture. So the first important one is these Portuguese brought the Iberian style of architecture into the India. And first they started the building of the forts, not the forts but the ports and also the warehouses, and later on they converted into the fortified towns along the coastlines where these Portuguese settlements are present. We saw they first started the building of the ports and also the warehouses, and later on they converted into the forts in these coastlines. And one important feature of this Portuguese is they introduced the concept of the patio houses. So what is a patio houses? It means a group of the houses which are present in the one street and they share the common boundaries. So if you see, this is the patio houses, and these are mainly seen in the American suburban areas as well, and they share the common boundaries as well. So there are the group of the houses which are present at the one single place. So this type of the constructions are called as a patio houses. This patio houses, it is one of the important feature of the Portuguese that we see in this time. And the next one is the Baroque style. In this Baroque style, we see the extensive decoration of the buildings is seen. Mainly if you see the churches of the Portuguese, we see there is extensive decoration that is made on the surface. So the important features of this Portuguese architecture were the patio houses and also the Baroque style. They mainly developed during the 16th century in the Europe and to express the strength of the church. So these Baroque style which is mainly used for the decoration purpose, that is seen mainly in the churches. And the next important point is it had elaborate detail and theoretical design mainly to create a dramatic effect, and it is also use of the contrasting colors. If you see this building, it is famously called as Sei Cathedral Church, which is mainly present in the Goa. So here we see there is a church style, and also we see there is a dramatic effect, and the colors which are used here, the contrasting colors. And if you see some of the important constructions which are mainly built under this Portuguese time, the first one is Sei Cathedral Goa, and this construction was completed in the year 1619 AD, and they are built mainly in the Portuguese Indo-Gothic style as well. So in this, one important feature of this Indo-Gothic style or the late Gothic style of the Portuguese, they use the large bell-like structures. These large bell-like structures, they are called as golden bells. And the next important structure is Basilica of Bom Jesus, and it is also called as Holy Jesus, which is present mainly in the Goa, and it is one of the World Heritage style which is built in the Baroque style. So what is the meaning of the Baroque style? We see there is an extensive decoration which is seen on the walls of the constructions, and this construction was completed in the year 1604 AD. And the next important construction is Castella di Agda. This is present in the Mumbai. And the next one is Saint Paul Church, present in the Diu, and it is also mainly built in the Baroque style. If you see these churches, they are mainly built under this Baroque style, and it is completed almost 1610 AD. And the next important fort is the Diu Fort, and it was built in the 1535 AD and the coast of the Diu Island. And the fort had a lighthouse and the cannons are placed in these walls. So this is one of the important and the unique feature of this Diu Fort. And there are also three churches which are present inside this fort. They are Saint Thomas Church, Saint Paul Church, and the Church of the Saint Francis Assisi. So these are the three important churches which are present in the complex of this Diu Fort. And the next important church is the Church of Saint Anne, which is present in the Goa. It is completed in the 1695 AD, and again they are built under the Baroque style. So this is about the architecture during the times of the Portuguese. And let us move to the French influence. Here the French brought a new concept, that is the urban planning, urban city planning. This was very famous during the during the 16th century, mainly in the Italy. So this French brought this urban planning with them into the India, and we see this type of the architecture mainly reflected in the Pondicherry and the Chandranagar. Okay, and in this Pondicherry and the Chandranagar, we see there is a urban city planning that was influenced of the French, that is seen here. And they use the Cartesian grid plan. So whenever we are studying about the grid plans, we already studied what is this grid plan detailing in the urban architecture. So in this grid plan, we see the streets which are opposite to each other. There is a right angle to each other. The streets are right angle to each other, and we see there is a square type or the rectangle type of the buildings that are seen. So when you are talking about the Cartesian, we see the exact measurements, exact squares are seen in this Cartesian grid plan. So French influence, we see there is a Cartesian grid plans, and also they use the scientific, artificial or the architectural designs that are seen in this French influence. So these are the two important things that you should remember. The first one is urban city plan, and the second one is the Cartesian grid plans and also the scientific architectural designs or the influence of the French. And the next important one is they built the imposing buildings as a show of the power, and they introduced another concept called as the anonymous architecture. And this anonymous architecture, which involves a simple facade without much ornamentation or the design, it is much like a modern buildings. So if you see the Portuguese, they see the Baroque style, that means they use extensive decoration. But in this French, they are very much simple. They do not have any ornamentation or the design. They look like a modern buildings. And the French also developed the coastal towns like the Mahe, Karaikal, and also the Yanam. These were present in the Pondicherry now. And if you see, this is the one of the classical example of the French style, that is a Church of the Sacred Heart of the Jesus, which is present in the Puducherry. So let us see some more examples here. The examples include the Church of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which is present in the Puducherry, and also the Sacred Heart Church of the Chandranagar. So these are the two important examples that we can say there is a French influence in the Indian architecture. And let us see the next one, that is the British influence. Here British brought the Gothic style of architecture. If you see the Portuguese, they brought the Iberian style of architecture, and here the British brought the Gothic style of architecture. And if you see, there is a merge of the Indian architecture and also the Gothic architecture that is seen during the times of the British. So we can say it is as Indo-Gothic architecture. And after 1911, that is a post 1911, a new style of the architecture that is developed, that is called as Neo-Roman architecture. So during the times of the British, we mainly see about two types of the architecture. First one is the Indo-Gothic architecture. Second one is the Neo-Roman architecture. So let us see this Indo-Gothic style first. So this Indo-Gothic style, it is also known as the Victorian style, and it is a unique blend of the three types of the architecture. First one is Indian architecture, second one is the Persian architecture, and the third one is the Gothic style of architecture. So whenever there is a confluence of these three architecture, it is called as the Indo-Gothic style. If you see some of the unique features of this Indo-Gothic style, they are, the first one is the constructions. They were extremely large and elaborate in their execution. So we see the buildings which are very large and also elaborate in their execution as well. And the next important feature is when we compare this architecture of this British time with the Indo-Islamic architecture, the Indo-Islamic walls are very thick. But this British architecture, the walls are thinner when compared to that of the Indo-Islamic constructions. And the second important one is the arches were pointed, unlike the curving arches that are seen in the Indo-Islamic. That means in the Indo-Islamic we see the arches like this, or we can see like this. But here if you see the arches in this British time, we see they are normally the pointed architecture. The pointed arches are present here like this. Okay. So if you see one of the unique feature of this Victorian style, it is a large usage of the windows. Large windows are used. In the Indo-Islamic architecture also they use the large windows mainly for the allow of the light and also the movement of the air. So the same it is followed in this Indo-Gothic style as well because of the Persian influence that is seen in this architecture. And let us see the next one. The churches have a crucified ground plan. So what is the meaning of the crucified? Means a cross shaped. So if you see the majorly the churches which are constructed under this time of the Britishers, we see the churches were planned in this structure. So we see the crucified ground plan, that is the main important characteristic of this British architecture. And the next important point is they started the using of the steel, iron and also the poured concrete, mainly use it for the construction of the buildings. So this is the one of the important key feature as well. And the next examples includes the Victoria Mahal, which is mainly located in the Kolkata, and the Gateway of the India, which is located in the Mumbai. So these are the two important structures which are built during this time of the British, comes under the Indo-Gothic style. And if you see, these are the images here. So if you see, this is the Victoria Mahal, which is located in the Kolkata, and the next one is the St. Paul's Cathedral, which is mainly located in the Kolkata. Okay, so if you see the design of this church is, it is like a cruciform shape. Okay, so here if you see this image, you will clearly understand that the ground plan of this church, it is based on the crucified ground plan. Here there is a long one, here there is a bend, and here like this. So we can see this type of the ground plan that is present here in this church. And let us see the differences between the Iberian and the Gothic style. The first important difference is this Iberian style, it is bought by the Portuguese, and this Gothic style was bought by the Britishers. This is the first difference. And let us see the second difference based on the material used. In this Iberian architecture, the bricks was the main material which is used by the Portuguese, and they also use the wood mainly for the covering of the roofs and also the stairs, etc. But if you see in this Gothic architecture, they use mainly the red sandstone and also the coarse limestone. They were used for the building of these constructions. And the next important difference mainly based on the structural variations. If you see these Portuguese, they continued with the Western tradition and did not have any structural variations or seen. But if you see in the British, that is Indo-Gothic style, there is a confluence of the Indian architecture, Gothic architecture and also the Persian influence. We see there are different styles. So if you see, because of this Indian architecture that is present, we also see some of the Indian motifs, Indian styles are present. And if you see the Persian influence, there is a large use of the windows that are seen. So this type of the structural variations are not seen in the Iberian style, but it can be seen in this Gothic style. So these are some of the major differences between the Iberian style and also the Indo-Gothic style. So let us see the second type of the style that is developed during the times of the British, that is the Neo-Roman style. So this Neo-Roman style, it is mainly seen after 1911, that is a post 1911, and the constructions, they are undertaken by mainly the British Raj. They were done according to this Neo-Roman style, or it is also called as a Neoclassical style of architecture. And this type of architecture mainly seen in the New Delhi, and this is done by two important architects. The first one is the Edwin Lutyens and also the Herbert Baker. Okay, and they were the finest examples of this style, and it had been often described as the Rome of the Hindustan. Okay, so this is the important thing, the Rome of the Hindustan. And if you see some of the important features of this style, that is the Neo-Roman style, they include, the first important one is the constructions are anonymous without any interesting features. And the second one is, we see there is a confluence of the all styles of the architecture that is seen. Mainly we see the Indian style, Persian style, Gothic style. So there are very different types of the styles which are present in the India. They were confluenced here. So we also see the Indo-Islamic architecture also seen here. So there is a confluence of all the styles of architecture which made this style very congested and also very crammed the space of this architectic expression. And also we see they are very simple, very modern, and also utility purpose. They are compromised here mainly because of this hybrid nature. That is, we see there is a confluence of all the styles here. So they do not focus on the simplicity, because if you see some styles, they are extensively focused on the decoration. But if you see some styles, they are only simply made on the, they are simply focused on the strength of that construction. So because of this confluence or the hybrid nature of the construction, they did not focus on the simplicity, modern and also the utility. So one important feature of this Neo-Roman style is they mainly focused on the round buildings or the circular buildings. And they also have the usage of the oriental motifs. Here the motifs are simply the decorating items or any important type of the art that is mainly used for the decorating purpose. So they use the mainly oriental motifs to realize that there is a Western influence that is seen in the buildings of this period. And the next one is the concept of the upturned dome also came into existence. So to understand this upturning dome, you have to see the Supreme Court of India. So in the Supreme Court of India, we have this upturned dome. It means a narrow dome which is seen, the height is very much high. So if you see the domes of the Islamic period, it will be like this, and it will be semi-spherical. This type of the domes are the commonly seen in the Indo-Islamic architecture. But if you see in this Neo-Roman architecture, the domes are very much narrow and very much tall. And we also see some of the spaces are present here, such that this allow the exchange of the air and also the movement of the air into these structures. So this is one of the important utility of these types of the dome. So this upturned dome, it can be seen on the top of the Supreme Court and also the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and they were introduced in this period, that is in the Neo-Roman phase or the Neoclassical phase. So these are the two examples of this Neoclassical architecture, that is our Supreme Court and also the Parliament or the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So let us see the post-independence architecture. This post-independent architecture mainly started after 1947, after we attained the independence. And there are two important schools of architecture that was emerged after this 1947. The first one is the revivalist and second one is the modernist. If you see this period, it is also said as a decline of the standards of the architecture traditions in India. For example, there are two examples. The first one is the Le Corbusier and second one is the Louis Baker. Here the Punjab government hired Le Corbusier, who was a French architect, mainly to design the Chandigarh. And if you see the Louis Baker, he is also known as the architect of the poor. And this Louis Baker was responsible for the revolutionized mass housing concept in the Kerala. So regarding this Louis Baker, you should remember some important things which is unique to this architecture, which is made by this Louis Baker. The first one is that he was known as the architect of the poor, and also he revolutionized the mass housing concept in the Kerala. And if you see some of the unique features of the constructions which are made by this Louis Baker, they are, the first important one is the constructions, they are environment friendly, and these constructions which are mainly made by the material which is available in that region, that is a locally available material. So because of this, we can say these constructions which are made by this person, they are environmental friendly. And the next one is he introduced the concept of the filler slab construction, such that it will reduce the use of the cement and also the steel. And the next one is he also focused on the ventilation and also the thermal comfort arrangements as well, such that we can say these are very much environmental friendly. How whenever there is a proper ventilation is there and proper thermal comfort is there, there is no need of using of the air conditioners in the house, such that we can decrease the environmental pollution as well. So in this way, whenever these constructions which are made by this Louis Baker, they are mostly environmental friendly. And next important point regarding this person is he is also known as the conscience keeper of the Indian architecture. So because of this person mainly focusing on the environmental friendly, he is also called as Gandhi of the Indian architecture. So these are some of the points that you should remember regarding this Louis Baker. These are very important regarding the prelims point of view. Whenever you are writing any answer regarding the construction to make the environment friendly so and so, then you can quote this person as an example that we have this style which is emerged during the period of 1947. So you can add this as an example as well. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you understand this lecture. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel. Please do like, share and comment my videos. Thank you.